Hello friends, it's Miss Mango, and today we are going to be talking about printmaking. And printmaking is an amazing kind of artwork where you can make something over and over and over again exactly the same way. Today we are going to talk about how to start our printmaking and what we're even doing for our printmaking process. So first things first, today for the first step you're going to need a piece of paper, and you are going to need to fold it so that it gets a nice big X in the middle. We are going to fold it once hamburger way, that means the short way, and once hot dog way, so that we end up with 4 different pieces of our paper. This is super important because we are going to draw 4 different drawings on this piece of paper to help us get ready for the printmaking parts. Okay friends, once you have your piece of paper, the next thing you are going to need is a pencil. And we are going to make sure, first off, before we do anything else, that somewhere on our piece of paper, we put our name on the back. Fabulous. So when we have got our name on the back, we are going to number our drawing. So I'm going to do number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. This is going to be important so that we know which drawing we are going to use. And I'm going to just fold it back up so I can see my number 1. This is how big our drawing is going to be for our upcoming project, and we are going to be making a cityscape. A cityscape uses a lot of vertical and horizontal lines, not a lot of diagonal lines. And we are going to make it so that our cityscape, our city, has a foreground, that means something in the front or down on the bottom in an artwork, and a background, something in the back. So Miss Himengo is just going to take her pencil and she is going to draw her first example of a cityscape. Now, friends, a reminder that a good way to start this is just by starting with a ton of different vertical and horizontal lines. So here I have what could be the start of some buildings, and I'm going to go up behind here, and this is going to be my background. And something you can do, and something I'm going to do, is have things that overlap. When they overlap, that really sells that the thing in the background is really behind what you were already making. Okay friends, now that I have my vertical and my horizontal lines and I have the drawing of a cityscape, I'm going to open it up to number 2. So flip it over, and you're going to make a different city drawing. We want 4 different drawings of different kinds of cities. So do your best. I have drawing number 2. Now I'm going to flip it over and find number 3. All right, friends, now that I have done 4 different drawings, I'm going to pick the one that I like best. And for me, I don't know, that might be number 3 or number 2. I like the little moons, so maybe, I think I'm going to pick number 3. So just folding up my piece of paper so that I can see number 3. Now what we're going to be getting is we are going to be getting a piece of styrofoam. And what you're going to do is you're going to use this, your drawing that you made, as inspiration for what you're going to draw on the styrofoam. So, you know, I drew this kind of quick, so maybe I want to straighten my lines out, and maybe I'll add an extra building. Friends, 2 things that you're going to want to keep in mind for this part of your project. The first thing is that everything you put on your piece of foam is actually going to go backwards when you print it on a piece of paper. So things that are super important, please, please, please do not use words or letters that could be read backwards. You want to have things that no matter what, even if they're backwards, they're still right. Okay, friends, so Miss Himengo got out a couple of materials. The first thing that I got out is my foam. And just a reminder to put your name on it somewhere. Himengo. On the back, lightly. There we go. So here's my foam plate. Here's my brayer. So this thing that rolls the ink is something called a brayer. You will be needing that. You will be needing this metal sheet here, and then we will also be needing a little bit of ink. Okay, kiddos, really quick, repeat after me. Miss Himengo, ink is messy, ink is permanent. All right, you may stop repeating. Friends, it is super important that you are super careful with the ink because anything you get the ink on is going to stay. All right, so here's how the ink goes. You roll it onto this metal sheet and roll it in both directions. That's super important, flipping back and forth until you've got a nice even spread. So this might take me just a moment here. Roll, roll, roll. Roll, roll, roll. And now that it's spread out pretty good, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my printing plate and I'm just gonna roll the ink on top of it. And because we made that indent with our pencil earlier, you can see where our little town starts to come through here. So roll, 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 until there's no more on our printing plate. And remember, you can see I got a little bit on the table. We'll need to clean that up later. So now that we've got the ink on our print, we are going to do some test prints. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna gently, without touching the sides, take your foam and put it down on a piece of paper, making sure to put it up in the corner. And you're gonna take your hand and you're gonna rub it. And this is super important for the printmaking process because if you don't rub it, sometimes things don't turn out the way you want. And friends, just a heads up regardless, printmaking is a tricky kind of art. Even Miss Himengo makes mistakes. That's why we're doing this, is so that we have some practice so that we can get better. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I've rubbed it pretty good. I'm gonna take my finger on the corner and I'm just gonna take a peek. All right, so pulling it up, you can see that I've clearly got my lines. That's super good. Things to notice is that it's a little scraggly with the printmaking. So that tells me that next time when I do it again, I'm going to want to print it with a little extra ink on it. We're gonna try this again. And remember, this is just a practice, so if I get a little bit of ink on it, it's a no-brainer, no biggie. We're gonna rub it with our hands. I'm gonna use the sides and the backs of my hands just so that I know it turns out. All right, I'm gonna check it. Ooh, and I see that it's sticking really good. That's usually a good sign. All right, friends, so taking a look, this one turned out a little bit more even than this one up here. So see, I'm already making good progress. We're gonna practice this a couple more times until we've got it pretty much where we want it. Friends, welcome back. This is the last step of our printmaking process. What we're going to be doing is, now that I've practiced making a print a couple of times, I'm going to be making 2 final prints. I'm gonna be taking a warm colored piece of paper and a cool colored piece of paper so that it looks like a reflection. So again, one more time, I'm gonna roll the ink onto my paper. So now that I've got my ink spread, I'm going to take my first colored piece of paper. I'm gonna make my first print. And remember, friends, because it's a rectangle, you're gonna just do your best to fill it up. All right, place it down, making sure not to place it right in the middle of the paper. Pull with the other. All right, friends, don't you think that one looks much better to me? So I've got my colors nice and dark. All right, now I'm gonna try with some cool colors, or not some cool colors, some warm colors. So now we have 4 prints, and Miss Domingo is going to cut the best ones out and mount them together. Okay, kiddos, last step, I'm gonna pick my favorite 2 prints. And for me, that's the second one of both of mine. And I'm gonna cut them out, making sure I leave a little extra space. Trying my best to cut a little frame around the outside of my artwork. So here's my little frame for this one. And of course, when I'm done, my extra scraps go in the recycling bin. Okay, kiddos, and when you're done, you should end up with something like this. 2 different colors, same print on the back piece of paper. All right, friends, awesome job. I will see you in another video.